of money, and a $1,500 sign-on bonus sounds even better. That's right, Bellisio Foods of Jackson is offering a $1,500 sign-on bonus to new employees. Receive an extra $100 your first 6 weeks, then $400 after day 90, and $500 after day 180. Don't wait. Apply online at BellicioFoods.com/careers today. That's BellicioFoods.com/careers. Come work for a company who truly values their employees. Come work for Bellicio Foods.
Show some love for the graduating seniors in your life with custom-made gear from Zip Printing in Jackson. Yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, and more. Zip Printing can do it all. Visit yourtotalmedia.shop to browse all of Zip's gear to show your school spirit for the class of 22. Zip also has everything you need for graduation parties like custom photo cards, invitations, and napkins. Call 740-286-3023 or find them on Facebook at Zip Printing Signs and Marketing.
Well, good morning, everyone. Jennifer is still not here, unfortunately, and that means I get to sit in this seat and use this microphone. So I'm joined by Telegram Associate Editor Phillip Buffington, and we are both super psyched to be here this morning. This is buddy. What we live for, bringing you news and media all day long.
Absolutely.
How you doing, Phil?
I'm pretty good.
I appreciate you joining me this morning.
Not a problem.
Yeah. So you've been double duty, maybe even more so than usual this week.
Yeah.
Of course, Pete's been on vacation.
Yeah.
You were saying he's on a riverboat cruise?
I believe so.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then I think he's set to go on another vacation next week.
Another vacation?
Living the life O'Reilly,
what?
Mr. Wilson.
When do we get 2 weeks vacation?
I don't know. I've been waiting on that for a decade.
Being out 3 days sick last week was the longest vacation I've had in a while.
Yeah. That's how it works.
But thank you. Welcome Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. We're going to talk some news here in a little bit. We're also going to talk movies here in the second half of the show. We're going to be joined by Derek McManus, who works here at Total Media now, but used to work at Tri-City Theater. I'm hoping maybe Josh Willett will pop in too. And we're going to talk about Doctor Strange, which is the new Marvel movie.
All right.
Making a lot of money. But first, we're going to talk some local news.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked a lot of Wild Turkey Festival yesterday with Jeremiah, so we're not going to go over a whole lot of that today. But all those photos and stuff are going to be in tomorrow's paper.
Yeah, we have a couple pages dedicated to the Wild Turkey Festival. We'll have plenty of coverage on that. So look for that tomorrow.
Did you get down any? You went down one day, right?
No, I didn't. We had Jeremiah was there. We had Red Thompson was there for a couple of days each, and then Courtney Leach, our new general manager, was there manning the booth off and on. She covered a little bit of stuff on Sunday. So we had Courtney
was there a lot.
Yeah, she was. She was.
Props to her for being dedicated and being there.
Yeah. And I mean, JJ was there, Porterhouse.
Yeah, those guys were there a lot too.
Yeah, Matt, all the guys. So we had a lot of coverage this year.
Yeah. I was talking to Red yesterday. I said, Red, what was your favorite moment from the Wild Turkey Fest? And we looked at this a little bit yesterday, but Jess Kelly Adams, friend of the show, we had on the show last Friday, her performance got rained out. So she ended up doing an impromptu performance in one of the tents. Yeah. That was really cool for her, I think. Yeah. You know, anyone else could. I mean, she was going to get paid no matter what. She could have easily just packed up her stuff and left, but she did that for the fans. Yeah. And so we watched a little video clip of that yesterday, where it's like, oh, that was that impromptu concert. That was the best part of the weekend. He was really excited, and that and the motorcycle show that they had. There was a motorcycle show? They had a motorcycle show, like a vintage bike show. Wait, did the turkey get to ride the motorcycle? I don't know. Because that was on their poster. Did you see that poster? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. But they had like this vintage 1950s bike from France. It had like all the original parts, had the original French license plate. He was pretty excited about that too. So yeah, Red was pretty pumped about this year's festivities. So yeah. If every weekend was the Wild Turkey Festival, Red would be a happy man. Oh yeah, especially if they had a featured country music artist playing, he'd be there with bells on every time. I guarantee you that. All right, well, I'm playing Jennifer today, so I got to say, Phil, what the heck's going on? Well, I've been kind of slow on getting some of these done, but last week during the commissioners meeting,
We had our local economic development partnership friends there, along with some local business representatives and some of the top management from Fluor BWXT. And over the past several years, I think in 2010, Fluor BWXT was given a contract with the U.S. Department of Energy to take on the decontamination and decommissioning work at the former Portsmouth gaseous diffusion plant in Piketon. And part of that contract with Fluor and the DOE, they built in a community commitment plan with the 4 counties of Jackson, Pike, Ross, and Scioto. And so now that their contract is about to expire next March, so March 2023, their contract's going to expire. There could very well be a new contractor in place doing that work. JCEDP President and CEO Sam Brady felt behooved to go ahead and give them credit where credit's due for all the work that they've done monetarily and otherwise through that community commitment plan. So Sam was joined by some of his colleagues, former Executive Director of the Economic Development Partnership, Jennifer Jacobs, who was actually in charge when Fluor took over that contract. We had board members Joe Wyant, Steve Pritchett, and Charlie Hudson. And then we had business representatives like Seth Stockmeister and Ryan Wright of Phoenix Quality Manufacturing. We had Robin Miller of Iron City Pipe and Supply, Kevin Workman of Johnson's Fire Equipment Company. And then we had President of Fluor, J.D. Dow, the chair of their community commitment program, Tim Poe, and several others there at the commissioners meeting last Tuesday. And as Sam pointed out, they were there to give a lot of credit to Fluor for all the things that they've done to help specifically Jackson County. He said that it's been a multi-million-dollar investment over the last several years. Overall, in the 4-county area, we're looking at about $11 or $12 million that they've helped these communities out with.
Over what period of time?
I think they started the community commitment program about 2013, okay. So about 3 years after they started their contract with the Department of Energy. So specifically for Jackson County, I believe it was $750,000 that went through the Economic Development Partnership Office. And then, now bear with me, some of these figures are kind of, hard to figure out.
All right.
But then $500,000 plus went directly to specific projects in Jackson County. Now, those commitments were then, they also used, there was $2 million spent locally for site redevelopment at the former Meridian plant and at the Partnership Plaza building in Wellston where the Kroger building used to be. They helped in that endeavor by matching funds. So the way that Sam put it, there was a total investment. Thanks to the money that Fluor gave, it led to further investments by other groups and individuals of closer to $34 million. And that amounted to over 300 full-time jobs. It's just been an all-around great thing for the area. And that all comes through Fluor's Opportunity Fund that they put in place thanks to their community commitment plan. And I have the exact figures here. So there were 309 full-time jobs created and 1,427 full-time jobs retained in Jackson County, in addition to the money that was given out. Wow. And Fluor President J.D. Dow, he wanted to say he wanted to challenge the communities in all 4 of these counties to replace Fluor, if that happens to be the case, if they don't renew their contract next year, to find another industry leader like them that is willing to put this much of an effort into investing in the communities, because, that's where they draw their workforce from, is all these 4 counties. There's a lot of people in Jackson County that work at the site in Piketon, and that's a lot of dangerous work that's being done down there. It's a complex, nasty beast, as J.D. Dow described it, and you need qualified, motivated people like they find here in the 4-county area. So they took the time to give them a lot of kudos, some well-deserved kudos during last week's commissioners meeting. Of course, they're not meeting this morning. They had a prior engagement in Athens County today. They'll be meeting again next week, which will be the bid opening for the sale of the commissioner's office.
Yeah. So You want to talk about that a little bit? Because so the way I understand that this is working is it is a closed bid.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, you basically write down what you're willing to pay on a sheet of paper and fold it up and put it in the hat.
Yep.
And then they're going to open them all at once.
Yep.
And do they know who the bids are from, or do they only see the amount?
I think they'll know who they're from. And there was a minimum bid set at $230,000 for the site there. So we'll know next Tuesday morning who's going to get it.
So will they for sure accept the highest one, or will, if it's like, oh, well, maybe that's not where we want this property to go?
I think it's ultimately up to them whether or not they accept it. But I think it would be at their discretion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see how many bids they get, because I know there are some neighboring businesses there, and I mean even Jennifer might be interested in that for the expansion of the brewery because it's right next door.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm anxious to see, and of course right now it's set up in office space, and this not only includes where the commissioners meet.
Well, it includes what used to be the health department, right?
The board of elections. Yep. Yeah, it's that whole building. So right now, the commissioners are in there along with their support staff, and they have the EMS director, Chris Johnson's office is in there too. So likely wherever the commissioners end up, that Chris will probably tag along also.
Okay.
And I asked them when they first announced this where they intend to move, and they said that they have multiple options on where they could go. But they haven't decided exactly yet because, once this sells and a bid's accepted, there's going to be several months in between when the actual move takes place. So there'll be some time for them to figure out where they're going to end up. But I'm anxious to see where that is.
It's an interesting scenario.
I think for the most part, they said that, A, they don't need that much space. I mean, there's a lot of unused space.
Okay.
And B, they're really trying to take advantage of the market right now because I mean there's money to be made and they're on a tight budget always. So why not make a little bit of money and reduce your overhead and utility bills even, because it's a lot of space and a lot of it's unused right now. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see a business go in there. Be awesome.
Next month or next week.
Yeah,
this one we'll know that next week. Yep. Okay,
a week from today is when they're going to open the bids. Today is actually the end of that 4-week required period where they advertise, but they had that prior engagement in Athens County, so they had to push that back a week. So we'll find out about this time next week.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see what comes of that next week. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, what else is going on, Phil?
This coming weekend, we've gotten notice from the Jackson County Democratic Party Chair Lisa Parker that they're going to have a spring outing.
Okay.
And that's going to be held on Saturday, May 14th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Manpower Park. And she encourages people to come out, reacquaint themselves with their neighbors and friends, make some new friends. And that's after, a couple of years of the COVID restrictions. Mm-hmm. Although I'm seeing that there's another whatever millionth surge that is. I know. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But they're going to have quite a few candidates, statewide Democratic candidates will be there, and you'll have a chance to meet them. And that includes the Ohio second Congressional District candidate, Samantha Meadows, who recently emerged victorious in the primary election, Attorney General candidate Jeff Crossman, Ohio Treasurer candidate Scott Schertzer, Secretary of State candidate Chelsea Clark, Chief Justice candidate Jennifer Brunner, Supreme Court candidates Marilyn Zayas and Terry Jamieson, U.S. candidate Tim Ryan's campaign representative will be there, and Ohio Veterans Caucus representative Connie Pillich will all be there. So there's going to be a silent auction, a split the pot. There'll be a raffle for 2 tickets to an Ohio State football game this year. So I encourage people that are interested in that to go out to the park on Saturday and enjoy some company.
Hey, Phil, let's go back a second.
Okay.
When we were talking about economic development a minute ago, I handed this flyer right before we went on the air.
Okay.
So there will be a workforce symposium for Southern Ohio employers on Tuesday, May 24th at the Park's Edge Event Center. The topic is going to be discussing challenges industry leaders are facing when designing a plan for tomorrow's workforce. So there's going to be K-12 educators. There's going to be a presentation from John Trott. He is the executive director of the Greater Ohio Workforce Board Incorporated. So that'll be interesting. That's brought to you by Ohio Means Jobs, the Jackson Area Chamber of Commerce, the Jackson County Economic Development Partnership, and the Gallia County Economic Development Partnership.
Awesome.
So yeah, so if you are a employer or even just an employee that, or maybe someone that wants to be employed or wants to be better employed, that'd be something to check out.
Definitely.
Next Tuesday from 8 until noon at Parks Edge in Jackson.
Awesome.
Workforce Symposium for Southern Ohio Employers.
And other economic development news, I mean, this is still kind of developing, but we've been hearing a lot of rumors and talk about possible reuse of the land there in Oak Hill where AP Green was, especially during the last two Oak Hill Chamber of Commerce meetings. There's been some talks that there's some good news coming down the pike for that area.
Yeah.
One of the rumors we've heard, and I can't confirm this, but the one thing that we've heard right now is that there's a chance that Plybrico might be utilizing at least some of that space out there. So we've been on that. We've got our ear to the ground. So whenever that good news may or may not come out, I mean, we'll let you know. But that would be fantastic because that's a lot of unused space out there. So it would be nice to see that reinvigorated.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. It'd be really good for the village.
Yeah, I agree.
Some other good news that recently came out. This came through State Representative Jay Edwards' office. The State Controlling Board has approved an Ohio Department of Development proposal that will provide more than $5 million for several projects in the state's Appalachian region, and this is tied directly into support training and broadband in this area. State Representative Jay Edwards said these projects are a good example of how federal, state, and local officials can partner together and target resources to critical local needs. And they highlighted three in particular. The first pertains to Vinton and Meigs County and their rural broadband initiative. This includes $1.18 million in ARC funds, that's Appalachian Regional Commission grants, to the Vinton County Commissioners. And that'll place 3 communications towers in Vinton County, including one tower that will serve part of western Meigs County. And they'll be used to provide wireless broadband service to unserved areas in those 2 counties using a 70% penetration rate. It is estimated that 28 businesses and 280 households will have access to 25/3 broadband service. And we also have a project coming up in Rio Grande for the community college, and that is close to $1.5 million. And that is to establish a new workforce training center on the college's campus in Meigs County. So that's exciting too. And then I think we've talked about this on the program, but in recent weeks there was an exciting announcement at Buckeye Hills Career Center about the grant that they got. And that's also an ARC grant, $1.5 million, and that was to establish 4 workforce development programs. And that's going to be a huge deal. Yeah, and they're partnering with some of the top companies in the region in those areas.
Yeah, it's like this is who's here hiring people. This is what we need you to train them to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And one of those programs in particular with the telecommunications industry, they think that it might be the very first apprenticeship program in the entire country.
Really? It's
going to be right here, in the area. Wow, so that's a huge deal. Yeah. Huh. And it's one of those things, it was an overlooked need for quite a while, but it's awesome to know that that's going to be the very first one, possibly definitely in the region, but possibly in the country. It's going to be located right here in Appalachian, Ohio.
Cool.
So we'll be the first to get that ball rolling. Of course, over the past few weeks, we've been highlighting area high school honor graduates.
Yeah.
And tomorrow's paper will be highlighting Jackson's honor graduates.
Man, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, quite a few.
Whole freaking class.
Yeah, I know. So in the class of 2022 at JHS, we have valedictorians Leah Brooke Alford, Haley Rose Bachtel, Jillian Paige Evans, Kirsten Nicole Evans, Christopher Douglas Hughes, Olivia Page Kennedy, Sarah Jane Lefevre, Grant Christopher Maston, Emma Grace Rasp, Caitlin Marie Webb, and Cultra Nicole Woltz. So quite a few very intelligent kids there.
Wow.
And I've covered, I'm getting old, so I remember a lot of these kids when they were in grade school. And they've been impressive, academically, athletically, and otherwise for quite a few years now. Mm-hmm. I believe that Christopher Evans and Sarah Lefevre maybe got close to or exactly perfect ACT scores. I mean, these kids have just constantly been super impressive. So kudos to all these guys.
I won't say what my ACT was.
Mine wasn't perfect by any stretch.
Mine was better the time I took it and rememred to bring my calculator.
Yeah, I forgot my calculator too. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
The time I forgot the calculator, it was not good.
But yeah, I mean, these kids are super impressive. So this will be featured in tomorrow's paper. The only area high school left that we have is Wellston's. I'm going down there tomorrow morning to take a picture of their honor graduates. I think they have 7 total. So they'll be coming up in the weekend's paper, hopefully, if we can get their bios. And then we'll be approaching graduation dates coming up toward the end of this month.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
Other graduation-related news, Wellston has named their Wall of Achievement Award winner for 2022. And he is a 1955 graduate of Wellston High School, and he's going to be honored at the 132nd Annual Wellston Alumni Banquet coming up later this month. And that is Dr. Ed Skeen, pictured right there. The Wall of Achievement program in Wellston, I think this is the 15th year that graduates and community leaders from the Wellston School District have been honored through this program. And Wellston interim superintendent Mary Ann Hale declared the honoree in the past, I think it was last week when she announced this. So following Mr. Skeens, or Dr. Skeens rather, graduation from Wellston High School, he earned his Bachelor in Science degree from Ohio University and a Master of Arts from Ohio State University. And then he was an officer in the Air Force for 3 years, returned to Ohio State University and earned his PhD in 1966. He then received a postdoctoral fellowship from the National Historic Publications Commission. He served a year with the John C. Calhoun Papers Project at the University of South Carolina. He served as a professor emeritus of history at the University of Memphis until 2008. And during his tenure as a professor, he published about 24 articles in history journals and over 60 reviews and contributions to encyclopedias and anthologies.
Wow.
So he's
he was the guy that wrote the encyclopedia. Man.
He's a very interesting guy.
Very edited Wikipedia.
Yeah. That's good resume booster right there. Builder. It really is.
Wow. So edited the encyclopedia.
That's when you know you're on a whole different tier of intelligence. So and he was produced right there in Wellston. So that's always good. That's always good. So the 132nd Annual Wellston High School Alumni Banquet is going to be held Saturday, May 28th, and that'll be at the Wellston Middle School. There will be a catered buffet that begins at 5 p.m., and then the program will kick off an hour later at 6. Tickets are available right now at Brodigan's on Ohio Avenue in Wellston, and the cost to attend is just $20.
Nice. Well, congratulations to him. That sounds like that's quite a career.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow.
And I didn't even say it all. Like, there's more. Now, in Wellston's case, with their alumni banquet, that's for any graduate of any year. They just have a combined banquet. And then, of course, there are those splinter events where people can, branch off and have their own little class party. But the alumni banquet is for anyone that has graduated from Wellston. So anyone can attend just for $20. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight, we had National Day of Prayer last week on the 5th.
Yeah.
And our own editorial assistant, Alex Shope, attended the one for Jackson. That was held at the Jackson area YMCA. And our own Matt McKee was the guy at the podium introducing everyone and helping.
That guy looks familiar.
Yeah, helping the program along there. Looked to be pretty well attended.
Yeah, it looks like a big group.
Now, typically in the past, this event was held on the steps of the Memorial Building here in Jackson, but this year was the first time they moved it to the Y. They started the event outside, moved inside to the gym, as you can see here. Had quite a few.
See him outside there.
Yeah, had quite a few students and religious leaders in the community involved. Of course, every year they make special prayers to several areas of society, including, the media, the government, our military members, the churches themselves. So, yeah, it's a very neat little program that they haven't been able to really have in person over the past few years due to COVID-19.
Yeah, I think maybe last year they had speakers, but they didn't have an audience
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it disrupted quite a long tradition that has been nationally recognized since 1988 when President Reagan signed that into law. And it's always on the first Thursday in May.
Okay.
Wellston also had a program at the exact same time last Thursday. They had theirs. So I think Officer Yardenachek with the Wellston Police Department, who's got his new therapy dog, Blue, led that itinerary.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't remember exactly when Wellston started having their own event.
Yeah.
But, it kind of works against one another when they have two going on at the exact same time.
Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people would like to attend both.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And, of course, Vinton County always has theirs. Red was there this year for theirs. They have theirs at about noon on the courthouse steps in Vinton County in downtown MacArthur.
Okay.
So that'll be featured in tomorrow's paper for Vinton County's, and I'm going to try to shoehorn in Jackson's as well.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right.
We'll see if
great.
we can do that or not.
All right.
But
well, thank you, Mr. Buffington.
You are welcome.
I appreciate that, keeping us up to date with everything. And
do the best
like
I can.
Pete's still going to be on vacation most of the next week, so we'll probably see you again next week, maybe.
Yep.
So
I'm going to use those 3 days he comes back and try to get caught up on that writing.
Well, I thought you were going to say you're going to take 3 days
No,
off.
no. No, I won't do that.
I'll see you suckers in 3 days.
No, I'll use that time to refill my coffers in there, and then I'll have some more stuff to talk about with you guys.
All right. Sounds good, Phil. Thank you so much.
No
I'll
problem.
let you get out of here. All right, guys, we're going to switch things up here a little bit. Come on over here, Derek. So we are going to talk about movies for a little bit. As many of you may know, Marvel has dominated.
Yes, they had a big weekend.
The movies of the last, I don't know, when did Iron Man come out? 2008? So been the biggest thing for 15 years now, and they're not letting up with
No, not at all.
Yeah, not at all. So a new movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, came out last weekend, made $187 million.
I hadn't seen the actual numbers. I don't watch it
that's
as
what
closely.
Flipster said.
Yeah.
I looked it up right before we started.
Since I left the theater, I don't watch the numbers as closely as I used to.
Yeah. So I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and give us, for those that don't know you, give us your movie background.
No, that's going to take a while.
Okay. Well, we've got 32 minutes.
Okay. So I'm Derek McManus. I'm the traffic manager here now, and I work for the radio. I sell a little bit too, but I managed Tri-City for 5 years.
Yeah.
Before that, I worked at the Athens Theater for 5 or 6 years.
The Athena Grand or
the Athena Grand?
Okay.
Yes. I managed that for quite a while. Oh, here's one of the old bosses.
Oh, here he is, Big Papa J's here.
And
grab a chair and come around. I'll grab your
so
mic.
I also managed. Where else? Oh, a Regal in Atlantic City. I think I have like what have I told you? 13 or 14.
Oh yeah, I know you've always mentioned it was several.
Yeah, I have over 10 years.
I don't know how much you did in Florida, right?
No, Jersey was a year. So I've been all over the place. I've worked at small theaters, big theaters.
Yeah. So you know what you're talking about when we're talking movies.
I like to think so.
You like to think so. So that's why I wanted to grab you, and then I appreciate Josh coming in kind of last minute.
Oh no, it's fantastic. It gave me an excuse that I went in and had to pick on Porterhouse for a little bit over at the. Yeah, here I'll scoot over. I'm a little bit wider than you guys are. So
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but.
What about me being wider? Thanks. I appreciate that. Oh, I love it when you call me Big Papa.
They were getting in trouble yesterday talking about. Yeah.
I heard. So I didn't get to hear it. I must have chimed in at just the
they kind of told on
right
themselves.
or wrong time that they were. Well, I think it's like anything else. They keep trying to come up with food nicknames for everybody, and I decided I was going to fight that one. And I felt really bad for Matt because there was this decision. Oh, Matt has to have a food nickname too.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Matt's been on the air for how many years now? You can't just decide to give him a nickname.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, I'm not doing it. I've been Beavis for too long. I'm not switching it. I can't.
I don't know if I had an opportunity to drop the nickname Beavis, I'd probably go for it.
Actually, Joel was the one that gave me that when I was a kid. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize. I thought it was a recent nickname.
No.
Okay.
That's
all right.
My kids call me that. Like my wife calls me that.
They call you Dad. They call you Beavis.
Yeah.
Well, that's better than Butthead, I guess.
Yeah. No, but yeah, actually, Joel's the one that gave me that nickname when I was a child.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. I thought JJ just started calling you that recently.
Oh no.
That sounds like a JJ thing to do, though.
Yeah, it does. Just start calling somebody Beavis.
Like I said, if you can control your own nickname around here, that is the way to go because you will get named something like Peaches and Cream. You just never know what you're going to get.
You end up being saddled Biscuit for 30 years.
Yes. So anyway, you're talking about movie stuff, and that's fantastic. And Derek, well, in these two, I can tell you from those of you who are watching, I end up dealing with the business side of things so much that they get to pay a lot more attention to what's actually coming to the theaters. And Derek, in his time that he was working for us at Tri-City and working, of course, at other theaters, was always extremely knowledgeable about movies. And, of course, Derek is here, and, James is here, too. These guys, they really do follow this stuff a lot more than I do. I get fortunate enough that I end up having to spend my time paying attention to, okay, what are the box office projections? And as much as this movie looks like it could be something really good, is it truly gonna sell tickets here? Yeah. Or am I better to run 2 screens of Doctor Strange for 2 weeks in a row versus bringing in like Firestarters coming this week? Yeah. So we'll be keeping.
Are you playing it?
We are playing Firestarter.
I mean, it's got Zac Efron in it.
Does he have a shirt on?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Right.
So I mean, people will come.
So yeah, well, and we figure that's one of those movies that tends to look like something that people in Jackson tend to come to. So we'll find out.
Yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, it's really difficult at times. And for me, as a family person, and whenever we can have kids movies, family movies, I try to keep them as long as I can, and as long as families are coming. I would rather that families are bringing their kids to come see Sonic 2 than watch Scream.
Hey, speaking of the kids movies, you guys just announced your free summer movie.
I saw that.
Free summer movie list.
Do you want to go over that now, or maybe we can touch on that at the end?
I don't have the list in front of me.
I saved it on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't have my phone either, but I saw it. Sonic 2 or 1 was on there. One of the Sonics.
One of the Sonics is on there, I believe.
Well, Sonics isn't on the list that I got. So June 7th coming up pretty soon.
Let me look at that.
This is what was put on Facebook this morning or last night.
Is that last year's?
This is great radio,
I know
guys.
Boss Baby's on there. Okay. I know that Clifford's on there.
I thought Sonic. Maybe I did.
Maybe Sonic wasn't
one.
Up.
You should put
the
Sonic
free
on
summer movies start on June 7th, right?
Yes.
And so it looks like it's going to start with Paw Patrol, the movie.
And the goal is that we're working to actually do a lot of these events in conjunction with other things that are going on. It's like, again, you're probably doing a good job of doing it in order, but I know Spirit is on there.
Yeah, so Spirit Untamed, July 19th.
So that's the same week as the fair.
Okay.
So, and like we have Clifford the Big Red Dog is on there, and there's an attempt being made to do something to help promote things at the Pound. Okay. There is Boss Baby is on there, and there's an organization out of Lancaster right now that
trains babies to be bosses.
No, that actually gets.
You need to watch the movie.
Good call. No, actually, what they do is they distribute diapers to local organizations all around at least the state.
Okay.
To give away diapers to young mothers.
Wonderful.
So we're working to kind of
great.
coordinate some of those events with other things throughout the community. So
Wonderful. But that kicks off on June 7th, and all those movies are at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
yes.
each Tuesday.
Yes. So we have the movies are here on Tuesdays. And then if you're listening outside of our area, I believe if I have this correct, on Wednesdays, we will have the free summer movies down in Gallipolis. And then on Thursdays, we'll have the movies in Chillicothe.
Awesome.
So is it the same list?
It's the exact same list, just we'll go 3 days in a row. So it gives people a chance. And it's good for us because it allows us to do that, not only in this community, but also trying to be a part of the other communities as well. So,
Wonderful.
And to my knowledge, Silver Screen's never had them. Now, I could be wrong, but I know that we've never done them at Silver Screen. So it's exciting for us to do it at all 3 locations.
Well, I would never forget Rio Grande free movie night at Spring Valley Cinema when I was in school.
Well,
those are some experiences.
Yes, and they make their way down. Of course, the Rio students come in, and they get discounted tickets. I believe it's on Mondays. So they've been making their way in there, and I know a lot of times the shout out to the Rio girls basketball team, because the girls basketball team they seem like they were always there during the season, and their coach would just kind of make it a thing that they went to, and I don't want to call it team building.
Yeah.
They
at least team bonding.
They used to come to Jackson quite often.
Yeah, so they've been going there.
Yeah,
it's
very cool.
So that's always neat when you see them coming in.
Yeah,
future superstars.
All right, well, let's get to what's happening right now. Doctor Strange. Derek, you want to give us, for people that are not familiar with the Marvel movie?
So first off, this is going to be really hard to talk about without any spoilers.
Right. Well, maybe we'll give a little unspoiler thoughts, and then maybe give a spoiler warning.
At this point, though, people who are paying attention to it have probably already at least picked up the synopsis of what's going to happen. So
I get it, but now that I've seen it,
it's hard to talk about it.
It really is.
There's that one part where that one guy had his
exactly. Like I was like, when you asked me to come on today and talk about it, I was like, well, have they seen it? I was like, if I knew that everybody watching had seen it, I was like, I could just ramble.
You just ramble.
So the MCU's been going on since, like you said, 2008. Except that one dark year where there was no MCU movies.
Really? Well, it wasn't in 2020, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the COVID year. Everything got pushed back.
But there's 12 TV shows instead.
No, there wasn't anything.
I guess that stuff was the next year.
Yeah, it was a dark year. Me personally, I will say Doctor Strange is not one of my favorites.
Okay.
Now, Scarlet Witch is.
Okay.
So she was the reason that I was excited for this movie, and she does not disappoint at all. And she is fantastic in this film, Elizabeth Olsen.
And now, I believe, without giving a spoiler, I mean, to me, it's something that you can very easily find out. She like comes out of retirement. Is that the concept in this?
No,
that's
she's not
based on trailer.
Well, if you watch the WandaVision, she's not really in retirement. She's studying.
Spoilers.
Okay, there you go.
She's on.
Her husband dies in a traumatic way, and she loses her mind, and she kidnaps a small town.
She's got a lot of
creates her own family out of her own mind, and then.
But that's not a spoiler for this movie.
No. That's the
already
Disney Plus show.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what's happened.
That was a year and a half ago.
So for those of you who don't follow all of this, it really all is interconnected.
Yeah, so it's 20 years of like movies and TV series, and this is the latest chapter in that multi-book story.
When my wife got home last night, she's doing the play. For the Marquee this week. She's helping with the lights and stuff. So when she got home last night, I started talking. She goes, "It's too late. I can't get into this with you right now." She's like, "I know you're just gonna start rambling." Because I've only seen it once so far, and I do think I will like it a little bit more the second time. But one of my bigger issues, and I know that the movies got rearranged a lot during COVID when they got pushed. If you remember, we went from Endgame to Black Widow. I'm not saying Black Widow was a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed it. But coming off Endgame, Black Widow doesn't get you as excited.
Especially since it got delayed for a year.
Exactly. Like people were like, "Oh, it's finally coming out. Cool." And then back in December, you had Spider-Man.
Right. Which was
And
what, the
I
second
wanted
highest grossing movie of all time?
It's something to
I
that
mean, it was
effect. It has
second or
been,
third?
yeah. It was. Well, we just got rid of it at Danbury like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
It was there for
So here's
months.
my kind of first thought when I had after Doctor Strange was over. So Doctor Strange is in the last Spider-Man movie.
yes.
And the last Spider-Man movie was like the biggest movie ever.
Yeah.
So
I saw
how
it
many
4 times in
freaking
theaters.
like 10-year-old kids that was like the first movie they saw and they just love Spider-Man and they love Doctor Strange and now they're going to ask their parents to take them to this movie.
No, I get it. Like,
And that is
some-
going to be a traumatic experience because this movie is not Spider-Man.
and honestly, what happens in the Spider-Man movie really didn't affect this film as
Not
much as we
much as you thought it was.
like as
No,
much as you thought.
And here's what I know about that from, again, my perspective, that actually Doctor Strange was filmed before Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
it was
I said.
supposed to release before Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I bet
it's
the
all the
part-
shuffling.
Yeah, the part that they talk about Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, I bet was all reshoots.
Yeah.
It was all added in.
Well, even right now, I just saw a thing from Dwayne Johnson because he's coming out with his character in the multiverse, correct?
The Black Adam
Adam's a DC
thing.
movie.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind. Strike that. But I know that he's in the middle of cleaning up.
He got
his
cast
movie.
in that movie in like 2012.
Yeah, it's
or
been
something like
insane.
that.
Yes.
And
So,
they still
But
haven't finished
no,
it.
I just sometimes their release schedule
right they
doesn't
get
live
shifted
up.
around a lot.
Yes. So like I expected this one to be huge
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
A little too much Sam Raimi.
Dude,
for me.
this is
I mean, it's
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it's a Sam
if
Raimi
you
film.
love Evil Dead, you will love this movie.
Or
And that's
For
what
Love
I've
of the
heard
Game.
about it, too.
I figured out that
Yeah.
I didn't know that For Love of the Game, the
I don't
Kevin
know that.
Costner
Yeah, I don't know
baseball
that.
movie.
Oh.
It's a rom-com. My buddy Nate told me that's who directed it. That's my favorite movie of all time, and it
Really?
was apparently Sam Raimi.
didn't know
I
that.
didn't even fact check him. I just
You just believe him?
No, you're not
I have
talking about
no
Field
idea.
of Dreams, are you?
no.
Okay.
I love
his
it.
better,
Okay.
his better baseball movie.
Okay. All right. He did a lot of baseball.
Oh, it's Field of Dreams.
No,
That's
it's
a
better.
fantastic-
Just
Yeah.
trust me.
I think I've seen that movie. But anyway, where were we? But yeah, it's a very Sam Raimi movie.
Yes, I mean the effects. I mean his fascination with just body
Well,
parts.
Just yeah,
like
it's-
I mean,
yeah, like it's like I don't know if I would call it like a horror movie, but like
it's borderline.
It's like it's a lot of gross stuff, and it's like the most violent deaths I think we've seen in a Marvel
that
movie
seems-
by
yeah,
a
that
pretty
seems
long shot.
That seems pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Those were good.
spoilers.
Oh, we didn't say who it was.
Well, but it's important for the audience to know that.
Yeah.
Like you said,
It is.
these are the reasons that we're telling people, hey, you need to be careful if you're coming to watch it with your
It's
kids.
definitely less of a kids movie than Spider-Man was.
But obviously, people are coming to see it. So
Yeah, so $187 million. So okay, so on like a local business side, how did it compare to opening weekend for Spider-Man?
we believe that it was actually very close.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, locally, we were probably higher grosses with Halloween than we were with Doctor Strange, which seems very strange to
Yeah.
us. But
Just a full blown horror movie. They
Right.
always do really well. with
so,
Jackson.
but Doctor Strange and Spider-Man were kind of neck and neck. At that point, with Spider-Man, we had just opened Danbury, so our focus was really trying to get the doors open. We do believe that at one point in time, like on single day total, we had single day totals that were higher
Yeah,
with Spider-Man. And of course, the longevity of Spider-Man has been incredible.
right. Yeah,
But the weekend total, I believe, was better with Doctor Strange.
interesting.
So, but again, we had just opened the doors like
Yeah.
a month earlier and hadn't even had an official opening.
Right.
So, but here we only ended up with one sellout show here at Tri-City. So we did have a sellout show at Danbury as
Mhm.
well. So again, numbers are good. But
Yeah,
when
I
we had
went-
Halloween, we had like an entire weekend where
Did
everything
Halloween
was
come
selling.
out at Halloween or was it a summer movie?
it was
That
November,
It was
wasn't it?
November.
I think that's so weird when they try to make Halloween movies like summer blockbuster
Right.
movies.
Well, if you notice, they release a lot of horror films in January and February too, because nothing else comes out, and they're just like, "Here you go."
That.
Right.
But if your movie's called Halloween,
When did the first one come out?
I mean, surely it came out in Halloween.
I don't know the date of the
Surely
original,
did.
but
I feel like I watched a documentary about the first Halloween.
Hey, goo.
it's gonna be like August 6th.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah.
Halloween.
When was the
1.
first Halloween movie released?
October
25th?
Yeah,
78. Yeah.
78.
So
First Halloween is a great movie. There's a.
when was the last Halloween movie released?
I think the most recent one was
October 22nd. Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
82. That's Halloween 3.
No Michael Myers in that one.
There,
Halloween 2.
No,
or 3.
Yeah,
The
3.
Season of the Witch,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's
Halloween Kills was October 15th, 2021.
So is there one? We're getting way off
Oh,
the topic
yeah.
of Doctor
That's
Strange.
fine.
But is there one more? Is there one more movie in the new Halloween series, or are they rebooting
yeah.
it
Didn't you see stuff at CinemaCon?
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
want to talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, CinemaCon was extremely interesting. Really, a lot of celebrity appearances.
Yeah, I
That's what was
saw
cool
that
about that.
online.
Like me talking about Dwayne Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these actors that you see when you're sitting there, you can see the teleprompters.
Right.
And
But they
Dwayne
gotta
Johnson,
do, like,
he
so-
has a teleprompter.
Uh-huh.
He's just a
Yeah.
legitimately really nice dude.
Well, that guy. Yeah.
And then, of course, there was the thing that made its way through social media about the actress that was served
with the divorce papers.
served with
Yeah, we
divorce
talked
papers
about it
on
on the radio.
stage.
Did you
Yeah,
get
I
to see-
saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
That was a little
we
bit
were there.
wild.
We had no idea what was going on. All we know is we just assumed that there was some kind of script change or something. And
So it's Jason Sudeikis' wife, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes. So we did see that. That was very interesting. It was neat to see trailers like the trailer for the new Avatar movie.
So did you see more than what they showed at theaters this week?
I believe so. I
Okay.
think that we saw like 10 minutes of the movie.
Really?
So here's my confession about that. I'm not a fan of the Avatar
Yeah,
movies.
no,
So
those
I'm sitting
movies,
in the
They're gonna
theater
lose a
getting
lot of
ready for
money on
Doctor
those
Strange.
movies, I'm afraid.
I see I forget what the first trailer was, maybe Top Gun. I don't know. Then the next one was Thor.
Uh-huh.
And then the Avatar like blue popped up, and I looked at my wife. I was like, "I'm going to the bathroom real quick."
Yeah.
I have
Dude.
legitimately not watched it. I have.
Yeah. They are
If you
Dude,
if
James
you watch
Cameron-
it in 3D, I get it. Like it's cool.
Okay, and on that note, so that's something that I was going to talk about with this.
Yeah, because you
So
brought it back.
there was a
right?
huge push for Doctor Strange to be shown in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Now, pretty much every movie theater has not shown 3D movies since pre-pandemic. Now, there have been movies where they release with the option of 3D, but they're not really made for 3D. You have to remember, Avatar was made pre-pandemic. It's just now being released.
way
15
pre
years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, way pre-pandemic.
So
09.
but what happened is that there was a decision made to push for Doctor Strange in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's dusting off their old 3D equipment. In fact, there was 3D equipment at Silver Screen and at Danbury pre-pandemic. Of course, Danbury closes. All of the 3D equipment is gone. You're paying a monthly fee for equipment at Silver Screen. Well, pre-pandemic, that was fine if you were showing 3D movies. But once you're not, you got to send that equipment back. And everybody had stopped showing 3D. So now we pulled up 3D for Doctor Strange, which you didn't watch it in 3D or
No,
you did?
with my eyes, it doesn't really work. Yeah.
And for me,
I wish it did, but
I've never been a huge fan of 3D movies.
I
Are
don't
you?
I don't like it either. I will say we were going to go to the 7:30 Doctor Strange
Mhm.
showing, and then I saw it was in 3D,
Saw it in
and we're
3D.
like, sorry, we got to go to the 6:31. I'm not
We're
watching it in 3D.
talking to Matt. Matt loves watching those movies in 3D.
Really?
So really one of the biggest reasons that we did Doctor Strange here was to see if there was a desire for people to watch it in 3D.
Mhm.
And I think what we found is that the majority of, again, insider theater business, was that the majority of people who were coming to 7:30 and watching it in 3D, they were coming because it was at 7:30, not because it was in 3D.
Yeah.
So, and they really didn't care either way, whether they saw it in 3D or not.
So was that one shot for
I
3D or
believe
was it
was
post production?
shot for
Because I
3D.
noticed a difference.
Yeah.
So
Like-
did you see it in both?
No, I have an issue with my eyes, so like 3D does not work. I wish it did because I actually really like watching the animated 3D movies.
Okay.
I think they look really, really good. Like,
So when we saw the Avatar trailer, they showed it to us in 3D. And they showed us, of course, clips from Doctor Strange. And what I thought was weird at CinemaCon was the fact that they didn't show us Doctor Strange in 3D, even though we were holding glasses. Like waiting.
yeah, so
it was all
post.
about Avatar. So the whole thing was just a push by them to get people during Doctor Strange to be prepared for Avatar, which doesn't happen till December. So there's this.
I
push
missed the trailer.
There's a push to bring Avatar in 3D, and so we have decisions that we have to make. Are we? It's Derek can tell you from a theater operator manager perspective, 3D is kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah. I mean, when the first Avatar came out, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, my issue is mostly with the actual story and stuff. Like, I mean, it's been seen, but visually it's stunning. But also that was 2009, and that was like 2 years after the big push. Like 3D was still brand new. Like this is what we can do. I kind of wish that maybe Avatar 2, in a sense, would be that big push again. Like that might get people back, but it was just pumping out movies. And you know, I mean, like February of 10, like when it was still new. I mean, we were getting like My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, like it was just like it was stuff that
a
literally
fad.
didn't
It
need
was
to
just
be.
bad.
It was things that end up transferred to 3D
Yeah.
versus things that were shot.
And a
in
lot
3D.
of them had like one 3D effect in the whole movie.
right.
Yeah. They'd be like somebody would
But like, I
point
mean,
right at the audience.
back
one
in
time.
what was it, the 80s, when like you had the
like the House of Wax.
yeah, and you had like the red and the blue glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, like that was big then, faded off for a little bit, and then it came back. So I just think it needs to find that movie to get people excited again.
Well, I think if they could find a way to make it work without you having to wear glasses, like the Nintendo DS.
Oh, that'd be a lot of money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
As
know.
far
I don't
as
wanna
from
wear
the
those
theater
glasses.
perspective goes, so again, the push there has been now movies are being filmed in IMAX instead.
Yeah.
Versus being filmed for 3D purposes. They're being filmed for IMAX purposes, which, you know, in our theaters in particular, I mean,
The screen's not big enough to notice a difference.
You couldn't do it. I mean, you'd have to completely gut the place in order to do it. So, you know, decisions of do you invest that kind of money in a format that the majority of people aren't even going to recognize the difference. But
speaking of IMAX, I don't know if we ever talked about this or not. I saw the Beatles, the Let It Be documentary at the IMAX at the Cincinnati Museum Center. They call it the OmniMax.
Yes.
It's like a dome.
Yeah.
So it's like a big IMAX screen, but it's round and it like goes up over you. Man, that was freaking cool.
and they were doing something very similar at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I went
that.
there. What was that, a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was probably 2 months ago now. But when we went there, it was very similar. And I love that stuff too. But you're just surrounded, kind of immersed in it.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That was really cool. If you get a chance to, I mean, Cincinnati Museum Center is freaking amazing and gorgeous, and they finished that remodel.
That's the one in the old train station.
Train station.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful
such
place. I've been
beautiful
there.
Building.
You've been
that
there,
theater
Derek?
is really cool.
Where?
To the
Museum
place
Center,
in Cincinnati?
Union Terminal.
I don't think so.
You need to go.
It looks
Derek.
like the Hall of Justice from the Super Friends cartoon.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't leave the house very often.
you need to go. That's a family trip that you need to take, Derek.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah,
So-
go next time you go to a Reds game, make that like a pit stop before the game, even if you don't.
That
go
way I
inside.
have fun before I go and watch the Reds.
Yeah, hey, they won big last night.
Well,
didn't they?
congratulations. They have 4 now. Is it
Yeah.
4 or 5?
Yeah, probably 4.
Every now and then you get
Yeah.
lucky, I guess.
Hey man,
I don't
comeback
know.
starts now.
Listen, I like their catcher a lot. I just
Yeah.
wish he was maybe playing
Dude,
for a different
He
team.
dropped a foul ball the other day. Man, it looked pretty bad.
Well, he got hurt.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he got hurt and then he was off a few.
Yeah, I guess he did miss it. Anyway,
I knew that eventually this conversation would just lead a million other directions. That's good. That's good.
the way it goes.
So-
that's the way it goes.
So
Thank you to the
Yes,
people
thank-
still watching.
so Derek, after watching Doctor Strange, like we've already talked about, it's not something that you're in a hurry to take your children to.
No.
Jensen's asked my stepson. I talked to Courtney about it. I go, are we going to show it to him? And we may wait until it at least comes home. That way we can turn it off if something happens.
Fast forward part.
I
past the
mean,
part when
I
heads
look
blow
at
up.
it. Yeah. I mean,
Spoiler alert.
if you're watching it, if you're curious, you can always go to IMDb's website and
Yes.
the parental guides. And I told, how many people did I tell that would walk in and be like, I don't know what this is rated, and it tells you what cuss words are said, like if there's any kind of nude, like I mean, it goes through the list and tells you why it's rated that way. I mean, it is definitely more on the extreme level.
it's just gorier than any of the
But
other
I mean, at
Marvel
the same
movies
time, we
are.
watched Endgame, and I mean, or Infinity War, and he killed literally half the universe. So I mean, like,
it's just
it's-
but it's just like less
yeah.
visual.
But I think
It's a
once
little more
it comes out and
cartoony.
we can watch it at home and monitor it, I
Sure.
probably
And by the time it's made for television,
yeah.
they'll have.
I wonder what they'll cut for the TV version.
Oh, do they still do that?
I don't know. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, I don't think they still do that.
Oh.
Everything's just on streaming now.
That's true.
I don't think Disney does like edited version. Well, I mean they do edited version, but I don't think they do like a
Yeah, they probably don't.
yeah.
I don't know. I never really
I
thought
guess
of
I don't
it.
pay attention to it either anymore.
Yeah,
Just you kind of.
because even if it's on Disney Plus or
Yeah, I don't-
Hulu, which
yeah.
they own and stuff, I mean, I get they probably don't do that anymore.
One thing that Disney Plus does do, and maybe you've noticed this on some of the Marvel movies, do you know how have you noticed how they adjust the aspect ratio some?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they started doing that like towards the end of last year,
fairly recently.
because they changed the original Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
Because I believe the original director wasn't happy about it because it
Well,
wasn't.
no, I think it's just because it was wider for theaters, but they just readjust.
No,
they
but
just
there-
made it taller to fill TVs.
I'm pretty sure there was something that they did with the original Doctor Strange with the aspects that he was like that was
Oh,
never
I don't-
supposed to be shown that
Well, I don't know
way.
anything
Like
about that.
like he
You're
filmed it a
absolutely-
different way.
Yeah. Well, my understanding was just like they shoot it on like that IMAX film was really tall, but then they edit it to be on a regular movie screen, which is really wide. But then a TV is in between those two, and they just make it a little bit taller to fill your TV screen. Is what I was under the impression that they were doing.
I used to know those exact aspect ratios that were involved with each of those, whether it was scope
Right.
versus flat versus what
Yeah.
you're watching. You're like 16.9 at home, or I used to
Right.
know those, but
Yeah.
I've
Well,
since forgotten.
If anybody
them.
saw the Zack Snyder Justice League movie, that's like native IMAX ratio where it's real tall. But most movie theaters are big and wide.
It's also real long.
Yeah, it's a real long movie.
Oh my gosh,
That should have been a TV series.
yeah.
That should have been 3 parts.
I'm not getting into DC.
Well,
we'll go over
out
the
of time
10.
anyway.
That's all right.
We're almost out of time anyway.
So coming up this weekend, like I said, Firestarter will be there. And I'm excited to see how that does for us. And there's another movie, a comedy movie that we have at Danbury this week. And we just discussed it yesterday, so I'd love to tell you that I know the exact name, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. But it is a comedy that looks fun. More limited release. And then Downton Abbey. We know that the Downton Abbey movie, we will have it in Gallipolis and in Chillicothe.
That's a question I've had a few people ask.
We still are not
Was
certain.
it my wife?
No.
Okay.
We're still not sure whether it'll be at Tri-City or not.
Okay.
Quite honestly, it's because of Top Gun and Bob's Burgers, because those two
Bob's
movies will
Burgers.
come out both at Memorial Day. And if you take a movie and you are forced to hold it for a minimum of 2 weeks, and the movie doesn't do well, then all of a sudden you've kind of pigeonholed yourself into having to hold a movie and not being able to take another. Right. So right now we're kind of on hold with that one just to make a decision. That decision probably won't be made until Monday, the week before. So it could be we decide on Monday, release it Tuesday, and it would show Thursday. So, but I do know for a fact that one will be in Gallipolis and Chillicothe. So that's for those of you who are fans of Downton Abbey, which I have a feeling that some of our audience are fans of Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
So
I went and watched the last one. I made it through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was told I had to go, so I'll probably go. I'll probably have to go watch this one as well.
So we know that's coming. Of course, Top Gun. I did get to see all of Top Gun while we were at CinemaCon. Wonderful. It's wonderful. So many. There's so many fun stories that we heard about the Top Gun movie, and I know it's pretty much time for us to be done. But what I'm going to tell you is that if you remember watching the original Top Gun and you were a fan of the Top Gun, this does a nice job in the same way that, say, the new Ghostbusters movie did a nice job of paying homage to the original. Storyline is much more important in this one than in the original, which and the storyline does connect rather well to the original. Again, I'm kind of glad Jennifer's not here today because I know she is not a huge Tom Cruise fan. But I will tell you that as an actor, dude's ridiculous. I mean,
I agree that
he
ridiculous.
is ridiculous as an actor. So they show him prior to the movie when he came and is addressing CinemaCon. He is sitting on the wing of a biplane as it's flying over this huge gorge. Okay. And he's like, hello, CinemaCon. Sorry, I can't be there. I'm in the middle of filming Mission Impossible, whatever, 27.
Yeah. I
don't remember what it's called. They just released the name.
And it's like, there's Mission Impossible 8, and then Mission Impossible 9 is whatever that name is, part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but he's in the middle of filming that, talking and addressing CinemaCon, and all of a sudden another plane flies up next to it. It's like, hey, Tom, we got to make the shoot. It's like, okay, bye, everybody. And the planes just go straight down. And again, he is on the wing of the plane.
That makes me think of that time Daniel Craig as James Bond jumped out of the plane with the Queen of England for the opening of the Olympics.
Yes.
Just wild. They're just like, let's see what we could do. And Tom Cruise is just like, all right,
the stunts that are in that, there's a scene in the movie that, again, doesn't give away too much, but there's a scene in the movie that they build a special plane for this scene in the movie. And the goal is that it's supposed to hit, Mach, whatever it is. And they went to an actual, naval aviation hangar when they did this. And what they said is that at the time that they were pulling this plane out of the hangar, that the Soviet government was actually spying on them through satellites, looking at this plane.
Yeah, I read that report.
Thinking that the plane was actually a new military plane, but it was made completely for the movie.
They're like, oh crap, Tom's coming.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right. Well, thank you, Derek and Josh, so much for joining me.
Thanks for allowing
rambling
us to
about Doctor Strange and Tom Cruise and
pretty much all
Tyler
I do.
Stevenson and
there's just a lot of great movies finally coming back to the theater.
Yeah.
Derek lived through that at the very end where of his time there where there was no great content, but there's something right now for everybody, whether you're a Marvel fan or a DC fan
Bob's
or
Burgers
you're
fan. I'm here for that.
It's all there. Family movies, everything is there. So there's something for everyone to see. So
all right. Thank you guys again so much. Jennifer should hopefully be back tomorrow. So I am out of a job, which I'm okay with in this scenario. So thank you guys all for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.